So it is January 10th, 2026. 3 months and a day from Charlie Kirk's death. I had never heard of him. I was with a young college student who had heard of him. 3 months, and it's changed the world. I'm going to go over some of the videos I did today. It made me realize as I pulled up 5, 6 videos from September 11th through the 13th. I think I did a few. I throw a lot of information out there. It is good information, but I realize it's a spigot. But the Lord has called me. The mud flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood was Armageddon. The mud flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. I guess this is the 3-month update since I warned about the Noahide laws, how this obviously is a connection to get the law that is already in place, that the United States will be governed under Noahide laws. I have that pulled up. Welcoming Charlie Kirk, a new martyr, possible sainthood, saved a life. What else did Charlie do? Well, he showed that Mormons, charismatics, and Roman Catholics have that. They can unite over Christian patriotism and then maybe Christian universalism, because this is a great big deception. So let's get going on the disclaimer. Should be one of the first things I get out of the way. There it is. That means everything to them. Now, as we go over these, Maduro, a Freemason, posing in front of another Simon Bolivar, the guy that I guess he's the most famous person in South and Central America, Peru. He freed them all with his Freemasonic connections. And Maduro's part of the game. If he has to do a couple of days in jail, believe me, he could do it standing on his head if he had to. It's always coming back. Everybody knows it's a flat earth. That's the big. It's on every desk in the world, teaching them a new normal. It's wrong. I mean, each one is. What's the word? Cool, man. Look, okay, this is Facebook. I didn't make the top 33, even though I have some more, but I don't have followers. I guess I have subscribers. I don't want to just run around doing everything in the background. So I showed that the Postal Service code, they sent out letters, prepare for some sort of a thing in the turbines. Is that really all I had? No. Oh, there's this. There's your thumbnail. We're going to be looking at that. Is a new version of the Kabbalah. That's Tucker Carlson. First time I've ever used him on a thumbnail because he's a Roman Catholic, and I think, he's pulling in the people who used to think abortion was the problem, but then they were told it's the economy. They just can't get off of that. So there's the guy that did it, Nick Land. This must be an old picture because he's an older dude now. They got the brains in the backgrounds. He's a philosopher and an author. We're going to look at accelerationism breakdown, the land Kabbalah, something like that. Nick Land is an English philosopher best known for accelerationism. It's been tied to the development of speculative realism. Hang with it now. Don't let these big words scare you. I know I was going like, what? Fang the new what? But anyway, somehow Freemasons or people in control get these people out there. Didn't even really start till 1990. In the 1990s, he was closely affiliated with cybernetic culture research, got a thing about theory fiction collective. So it was co-founded by Land and a cyber feminist. We'll look at her, Sadie Plant, leftist thinkers, rave culture. They amphetamine abuse. So after a period of taking speed, he suffered a breakdown, disappeared from public, but reemerged on the political right, became a foundational thinker in a movement known as the Dark Enlightenment. What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and okay. Well, we were wondering where they got it. Hey, Nick, cyberfeminism is an alliance that seeks awareness to defy any sort of boundaries of identity. Started on a drug-fueled matrix. They were doing a cyber manifesto, feminist manifesto in 1991, calling it the Matrix. So, I think I have this one. I was busy last night. I slept in these clothes. Cyberfeminism as blurred edge rage entangles carnality with code. I'm going to have to, I need to take a drink. Some coffee's getting cold. Plus, I felt like I had something in my throat there that was going to be a future problem. So, cyberfeminism, this is, from 1991. Linda Dement, she said, it has coagulated and sparked. Okay. So it's turned into a lumpy gel that, what, like linseed oil on a rag? That has to be spread out in the vapors. I don't know what, but it's sparked. I just think they just looking for syntax. Sparked in the reject outsider mutiny. Well, that's not a physical place. Trauma jostlance. Who are they trying to kid? And fast, hard beat of queer punk. Well, a lot of people aren't into the gay thing, of like, that's what cyber feminism did not. It's like in my world, it's, well, now we know who to blame. You did it. The visible existence and a manifesto. I'm going to start over with it. Cyber feminism as blurred edge range entangles carnality with code, machines, blood, and bad language, poetry, and disdain, executables, theft, and creative fabrication. It incites and follows lines of flight powered by contradiction, relatedness, transgression, and misbehavior. Simultaneously embraces logic and unreason, giving the finger to binaries as it ravishes them. You know what, you blue-haired, black fingernail polish bad teacher? We'll see how tough you are here when the power goes out and your ATM doesn't work and you just turned out to be another, gray-haired granny trying to act like you give it up. Yeah, that's the goal. Unlike first wave feminism, not only the elimination of male privilege, but of sex distinction itself. So they want, that's weird. Genital differences between human beings would no longer matter culturally. Huh. A reversion, I looked up that word, to an unobstructed pansexuality, Freud's polymorphous perversity, would probably supersede not being gay. Well, maybe in academic world, that's for sure. I'm almost out of my pictures. I remember this is a new one here. Something about the Kabbalah. I got a lot of Kabbalah coming up. I realized I didn't set the microphone exactly like I wanted, but disaster averted. It's a fundamental mistake to view the Protestant Reformation as a mere rebellion against papal corruption. It was and continues to be a Kabbalistic revolution that has fragmented Christendom, birthed Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, and the John Birch Society, and laid the foundations of the modern world. Modern love. Luther did it with John Calvin. Somehow they were in a Rosicrucian lodge, according to this computer. To leave me too much, I felt like a weaned child about his mother. I cried bitter. Worst quote ever. Well, that's not what I got it for. I just thought it was that Kabbalistic secret society that, he was, I don't know. I always liked him and John Calvin. I know they buckled when it came to the execution of Michael Servetus. Sola Scriptura implies the Kabbalistic notion that scriptures are alchemically encoded with mystical wisdom. Well, Sola Scriptura means no, we have in English culture what we call 66 books in the Bible. That's though that alone is scripture. Your Jashers, your Enochs, no matter what of those 3 or 5, I don't know how they classify it now. Hey, look, there's the Kabbalah. I guess that what they call that when you see these guys at the wall doing that thing, it actually, well, Rabbi Jacob Shoke said they call it davening is, open quote, based on the analogy of the movement that occurs in the act of love making, close quote. If that's what you want to call love, Rabbi Shoke, I don't know why. I'm just saying, does that look like Joe Biden from the back? I don't know. I'm just 7 Noahide laws up here. The political act. So I looked it up. I have this web page pulled up. If you need more specifics, like I do, like I said, well, if you're, I'm just laying out the record. I went to bed last night telling you I wasn't real happy with that show. I don't like starting late. Did you read that? Establishing the 7. I couldn't believe it. So I'm there like, man, if I'm going to tell them that, I'm going to have to look it up and show it to them. Yeah, he based his Christian nationalist beliefs, values on being a charismatic Christian, going in with the Catholics and the Mormons. To him, that's fun. That or was fun. And then the last slide is a simple reminder that, yeah, they do it. This guy was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. They got busted doing like something. What was it? 30 emails that nobody knew about? No, it was 300. No, wait, it was 3,000. No, wait, it was 33,000. It was a lot of emails. And then they used the spirit cooking to have a fun time. Man, I hope I was sharing. I feel like that was a long time to be looking at the pictures. Man, we got some snow down here right now, 13 degrees. I woke up 5 below. So typical. Typical. Let's see. I guess I'm into the videos now. Huh. This is a surprisingly revealing series this Picks and Portraits has had going. The things they pick help me immensely and I try to pass them on to you. Right now they're talking about this. I hope the volume is set because I don't want to mess this up.
The more things are front-loaded by future pressure, the more society reaches into the grab bag of the past and spews out lame remakes and recombinant images.
Under the gravitational strain of the year 2000, culture retreats to the remake bunker.
Just like the operating systems of computers, the operating system of the 20th century has crashed into a remake loop.
Remake coding.
Remake coding.
For a remake culture.
This is from 1999. So anyway, I've made a big deal out of it, and RJ has made a big deal out of this 2001 September 11 thing for a long time. And this is what we were looking at because we were younger men then. But still.
For a remake culture.
For a remake millennium.
For a remake millennium.
As the year 2000 gets closer and closer,
the recycle cycle gets more intense. Remake cinema.
Remake martinis.
Remake faces.
Remake cigars.
Remake politics.
Remake love.
Remake music eras.
Remake fashion look.
Remake suburbia.
Remake flesh.
Remake cinema.
Remake love.
Music eras.
Remake flesh. Remake love. Remake fashion look. Remake cigars. Remake flesh. The T report on the crisis in the computer industry says the millennium could be a big zero.
Could be? The remake millennium already is a big zero. For remake culture, that's the whole point.
Very possible in the near future to represent things that well.
I think if you do the lighting right, we can do that today. We've got about 10 seconds in one of our rehearsals, which most people think is a lot. I think we got lucky, but I don't think it was a mistake. I think it would be possible for these characters and creatures to express feelings, and I think it could be truly and delightfully obnoxious. I think if you go into your kitchen and you don't go to the refrigerator could grimace at you or try to attract you over to the refrigerator.
Tom, I feel my whole working life has been a crusade against the mere possibility of talking fridges. Is this really your idea of a great future? A world where...
About? Well, I think I'd like to do that, please.
What, shave?
No, I want to try it for myself. I want to see what the current state of the art in artificial realities is.
Oh, why be so modest? It doesn't have to be the current state of the art. I mean, this is a dream after all. Why not take advantage of it? Very good. Your glove, sir? And sir's virtual reality helmet, sir?
You seem to have gone all obsequious again, Tom.
I know that sir secretly prefers it, sir. If sir will just lean forward a little, I'll wish sir bon voyage.
Advertisers are turning more and more to computer-generated images to sell their products. Here are just a few examples.
Technology from a company called TRW helps ideas get around. Because getting an idea from one place to another is as important as getting an idea. Did you ever notice that just when you think you see the whole picture, the picture changes?
That's a good hobby. That's what I like to do. Oh, where's that one? You got to see this thing. This one's better because it says NASA. The TRW one, that's too This is the beginning of, hey, look at Neo. Look at the Minority Report. Look at September 11, 2001.
Of view, these optics give us about 120 degree with a true stereo image. Okay, I'm looking at a computer-generated image of the actual lab that we're working in here. I'm seeing a monochrome, fairly simple database that we developed to see if...
Hey, look, I'm trying to show you, if you don't believe that everything is brand new, that they're re-engineering, reverse re-engineering, here's the plans, figure them out. It's Satan's timeline. We're deceived. We're already that frog in boiling water being encompassed about. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. But sharing the screen? Looks like it. Here's Nick Land and acceleratism.
Universal, by which he meant the global open society. Land agrees with economic determinism by viewing the market in modern liberal terms, where the economic sphere is kind of detached from culture, politics, etc., as the mechanism that accelerates history and brings about the AI, consciousness. Now, for my part, though, I am happy to understand market mechanisms as one layer of human activity, a metabolic function of the human.
I know. Can you believe it? All this from last night. From last night to this morning, and the Lord is like, when I'm gathering all this information, it is so that you will understand the mud flood was Armageddon. The Bible is completely true. The rocks are crying out. I've done an autopsy on a trilobite to prove it's the midbrain of those who died in Noah's flood.
Species, which is indeed sort of like a global computer and can be healthy for us, for society, for human flourishing, or unhealthy, depending on its
So
relationship.
you wondered where they got it. Where'd they come up with this new crazy baloney that it seems like everybody from Putin, Trump, Vladimir Zelensky, and all those other world leaders like Brigitte Macron, Hillary Clinton, they're all on board. Hey, they've all felt the pain, ate the pain, gone to spirit cooking classes.
Organization and solidarity, it provides the opportunity for them to be reconfigured.
It found fertile ground among Venetian merchants, Dutch bankers, English factory owners, and the like, the inventors of modern capitalism. But mainly European Jews and Protestants. Land is sort of on the side of Judeo-Protestantism, but not of the modern evangelical Zionist kind. And increasingly...
he would be happy with the Noahide laws, I'm sure. Right? Nick? Go.
Crest in thinkers like Karl Popper, who rejected the mediation of any collective, like nations, between the atomized individual, taken just as an individual, not as a member of a wider community, and the universal, by which he meant the global open society. Land agrees with economic determinism by viewing the market in modern liberal terms, where the economic sphere is kind of detached from culture, politics, etc., as the mechanism that accelerates history and brings about the AI.
You already said that.
Structure of a central command system, giving the system instructions about how to behave, towards a system that is parallel, that is flat, which is a web, and which change moves from the bottom up. And this is going to happen across all...
Or the top down, it is flat, but we're divided from the water above by God, and looking below is no.
Institutions and technical devices. It's the way they work.
That comes through very clearly in his work on blockchain and Bitcoin, which might be peak land. Quote from Cryptocurrent, Bitcoin, and Philosophy. Bitcoin instantiates...
And we never even heard of this guy.
In profane terms, as a big being out there trying to centralize and control his creation, then yes, you could see this technology as proving that no God is needed. There is no metaphysics. But if you understand God as the being of beings, the essence of everything, the oneness that provides coherence to creation,
They're going to be going with the no-hide laws on that.
then the emergence of decentralized networks is in no way proof against him. If
Oh,
blockchain
blah, 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 blah. If you want to go fight their robot dogs, line up. They're taking applications every day. I never heard of the guy, so I had to look him up. That's where I learned about the whole, you know, let's like Philip Dick and the other writers of the adrenochrome strain, you know, Lenny Bruce and all of them, I think, you know, pumped up on the amphetamines. They spill out all kinds of crap, you know, as cyber feminists like her. She doesn't get much of a website. Cyber feminism does. It's a big deal. But they're looking for a dark enlightenment, which is the absolute opposite of what I'm saying. We got to run away and hide from these people. They will not be happy until you're dead. Cyber feminism. Sadie Platt was a big part, found cybernetic culture research with Nick Land. So you know, I read some of the quotes, right? Dazed and confused? Yeah, you better freaking believe it. They are. Cyber feminism foregrounds. That's the third time we've heard that word in their comments, and now we're reading it. Foregrounds the relationship between cyberspace, the internet, and technology. Okay, that's a little repetition. All of those three are technologies. It can be used to refer to philosophy, art practices, methodologies, or its community. Coined recently, before the reset, you know, 2001, September 11, two planes brought down 7 financial institutions. 1991, Cyborg Manifesto, third wave feminism. Here we go, girls. You go, girl. It's that whole, you know, riot culture. Riot, girl. You go, girl. You're every girl is beautiful. And as a matter of fact, cyber feminism is post-genderism. That's what they meant. Social, political, culture movement that they were foreshadowing that they had to build it up, you know, in a sexually attractive way to bring it in. That's what they do. You know, I like this girl because everybody does, but they like that. And we'll just do a little giggle. Androgyny. When did we start hearing about that? Michael Jackson much? Feminism, transgender, transhumanism. Huh. Urania. Feminist magazine published between 1960 and 1940. Then they didn't need it anymore. They were the ones starting then. You know, there are no men or women in Urania. They're polysexual, you know, but they not only the elimination of male privilege, but the distinction itself. So we read that. Freud called it polymorphous perversity. Well, yeah. Trafficking women, genderless, though not sexless society, of course not. They are evolutionists. They don't believe in God. They think they're figuring it out, but this is absolutely, you know, the wrong path. We don't want children to grow up even having their 5G waves available to get in their brain. Is this a computer? I think so. Do they decide what they bring out? to the world. Well, yeah. Are they pushing right now? Maybe we should be looking at the 7 Noahide laws. Yeah.
As a personal, active presence that empowers the individual for covenant obedience. Contrast this with the term Shekinah, which has become a staple in modern evangelicalism. Forensic linguistics shows that Shekinah is a later Talmudic and Kabbalistic abstraction. In the Zohar, it is presented as a feminized
Shekinah glory. Kind of leaning towards, we should look at something new, I guess.
Logical hold. Resetting discernment. A collective declaration is made to reset our discernment, ensuring the cell's objectives remain focused on truth stewardship for the coming month. Phase 3, the 2026. Deployment schedule. Forensic analysis of the prime number nodes identifies the following high probability windows for 20 to 6. January-February, node 7. 11.
Huh. Maybe I should get a screenshot of that. Recursion occurs when the definition of a concept, when the definition of a process depends, it is, you can't describe it. It depends on a simpler previous version of itself. Well, so it's that like, well, if we evolved, where did they evolve from? Well, from space spores that they spread out throughout the. Well, who made them? What God created them? Did oh no, everything evolved back to a primordial soup. It does the infinite mirror thing, and we live in a world of recursion. A visual form of recursion known as the Droste effect. The woman in this image holds an object that contains a smaller image of her holding, and so forth and so on. I will, not many pictures, but you can see. That's a very common trope. The Ouroboros, common trope. Eating its own tail, like, well, eventually you're going to run out of tail, dude. Starter dough, sourdough starter. Oh man, have you ever had friendship bread? I think my family went through a decade where we, friends were passing around friendship bread, and it's good. Recursive history. Toronto's Recursive History Project started on October 10th, commemorates its own commemoration. Plaques like this one are an integral part of the campaign to support more plaques like this one. By reading this plaque, you have made a valuable addition to the number of people who have read this plaque. To this day and up to the end of this sentence, this plaque continues to be read by people like yourself. Well, maybe you were just listening like Zach Macanudo. He's working, so he's not watching. So he couldn't have read it. He listened to me read it. If you're not too busy, there's a recursion. It's a fractal. Hey, you nesting dolls, what are you talking about? They're not recursive dolls. Right? They sure could paint back then. Mathematics and computer science, a class of objects or methods that exhibits recursive behavior when it can be defined by two true properties. A terminating scenario that does not use recursion to produce an answer. That's base case. Recursive step. A set of rules that reduces all successive cases towards the base case. Not good enough. Foregrounding is needs to explain it. Firstly, most of the poem deviates from normal language. In addition, there is a secondary deviation in that the penultimate, that's the second to last line, is unexpectedly different from the rest of the poem. Nursery rhyme, advertisements, and slogans often exhibit parallelism in the form of repetition and rhyme. Repetition and rhyme are not part of the three R's of modern advertising of repetition, reiteration, and redundancy, but parallelism can occur also over longer texts. Well, this is foregrounding. This is what they did with cyber feminism and how they got it. So they started putting it in. I remember an example of how they would do it. I can't remember the name of the movie. It might have been, we'll forget the name of the movie. But anyway, it's a chase scene and it's funny and Steve Martin is chasing somebody and they break into a, and he's going to die, but he's grabbed onto a rope and it crashes him into the window of a hotel. And there's an old lady dressed in a fetish outfit of that leather and whip and stuff. And he goes, either Steve Martin or Leslie Delson goes, "Oh, excuse me," and just walks out. That's the use of it. Because this was like 30 years before people were like, what were we exposed to, contaminated with the ideas of 50 Shades of Gray, foregrounding literary studies that concerns linguistics utterances to get it into your mind. Parallelism is described as an unexpected regularity because eventually they're going to show more fetish things until men are, doing what they do. And all of a sudden their wife blurts out, "Slap my titties," or some, like, wait a minute, honey, where'd you ever hear something like that? Because some men didn't hear about it. I'll promise you that. 1900s, automobiles prior to the introduction of power steering. So just keep that in your mind, the foregrounding and stuff. Look, worm drive. This came out of nowhere. And this is recursive because before you can get the worm drive, you need two machines to make the worm wheel and the worm shaft. Then you can make the worm drive. It's recursive. But our fake history is so full of things that we're just told to trust them. They just all of a sudden they went from, forcing it into wood to now we have this on Stradivari double brass worm gears. Well, thanks a lot. We sure jumped, didn't we? From the worm gear of a cotton gin. From where? It's a star for it. It's buried, though. Still a star for it. Stop more recursive stuff. Small electric motors got hooked up to them, and the next thing you know, we're off and running. Grandparents, parents, us, and it's over. A veil has been lifted. I hope that I haven't been redundant. Did you know that when they brought out the rack and pinion steering, they had replaced recirculating balls that had been used for over 1,000 years because it's better. Rack and pinion is not better, which is why these cars late into the 90s still used the recirculating ball or nut or the worm ball screw steering because they were better automobiles, but they didn't break down enough. Interesting, huh? Worm drive, the Pitman arm. Another one, recursive, couldn't have invented it, couldn't use it without it, but where would we be without the Pitman arm? Refers to a component in a treadle, sewing machine that connects the foot pedal to the crankshaft of the lower flywheel. Been around. We're made of wood. But then, boom, where would you be without power steering that somehow, some way, now you don't even have to use your muscles. Anyway, this is my algorithm. What's new? We'll see the fourth one down. Huh.
Well, in Germany, Bible-believing congregations are sometimes seen as dangerous cults. One German pastor told CBN News he's facing the worst persecution in his life. Yet despite constant harassment by police, his dynamic church is growing. Dale Hurd reports from Germany.
From the Christian Broadcast Network. Give me the rock and roll? Huh?
Heal the soil. And then we called in another company. They did an assessment and said the soil is clean, no toxins, nothing.
Unable to obtain a permit for a church, they became a tax-free religious organization. Without a bank loan, they built the structure themselves.
Nice.
Even pointed at his wife, Irina, who would have to be taken to a hospital for medical complications. Epp was then handcuffed and driven to the church, where the SWAT team entered with machine guns drawn, busting down doors.
Hey, this took kind of a crazy turn, didn't it?
Pastor Epp, with the damage to his home and car, and have never compensated him for his medical expenses. The authorities did not reply to our request for an explanation.
To that bandage on his nose?
I think it was all part of God's plan, that we'd be under pressure and that we wouldn't.
Boom, 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 boom. Half Moon Bay. Am I sharing? Yep. Half Moon Bay. That is where they're getting some flooding today. Somebody alleges it. A computer alleges it. Anyway, Half Moon Bay, we know it in the Mudflood as that super exclusive golf course that has those, you know, weird pillars washing off their mountain. I don't know if you can see them here. They try to hide it, but, you know, there's pillars holding up this whole part of the Half Moon Bay golf course village, fancy motel. Allegedly, it's gone now. I have to do my history. Did you know if you ever want to go back and look at something, you can just click your history and it'll show you what you watched if you want to share it like I do.
Waves are exhibiting behavior. The very ground beneath California's iconic coastal highway, Highway 1, is being torn apart. A monster landslide, still actively shifting, has severed critical arteries, reducing vital infrastructure to a chaotic mess of earth and rock. But the ground is merely one front in this unfolding crisis. Right now, as these images stream in, the California coast is enduring a relentless assault, unlike anything seen in decades. Water, once a source of life, now rages through streets where cars typically flow, transforming urban landscapes into treacherous waterways.
Anybody else even heard about this? I tried to look it up. I can't find any confirmation. Is this computer just pulling it out of thin air?
Storm waves, and critically, the highest astronomical tides of the year, the infamous King.
We talked about the king tides last week. It's a big deal. And did this town really disappear?
Tides, you create a catastrophic triple threat. This confluence of forces is generating pressures and water levels our coastal infrastructure, much of it decades old, was simply never engineered to handle. The economic ramifications alone could be devastating, threatening billions in trade and local industry. The escalation was rapid.
Dude, that You got to just wait for it to go down. You're not squeegeeing anything, man. And you should go get some better boots.
Worse. The distinction between 1983 and now extends far beyond mere numbers on a tide gauge. Back then, they contended with the raw power of king tides and storm surge. Today, a new, compounding element has been added.
Oh, more doom and gloom, Paco.
Guiding limited resources to where they are most desperately required.
Right, it's not with the poor people. They're going to take the money and put it in their own pocket and go buy some adrenochrome.
Expires in the next few crucial hours hinges precarious.
So we're talking, this guy's just put this out 5 hours ago, and I'm thinking, did he jump the gun? Is it going to happen later today or tomorrow? We don't know. Half Moon Bay is kind of a nice area. I mean, if all of this went away, wouldn't it be a bigger deal than one video? Hey, look, the USS DeLong ran aground there. This is that hotel. They don't show the Half Moon Bay pillars. That's an interesting sidewalk, retaining wall. So this is gone? It was a star fort? I know if it's gone, there's a lot of money gone because yikes, doodah. Hey, there's one of those Jeeps that had that not rack and pinion. Huh. Oh, quick look at dynamos. General Electric says they, direct current using a communicator. This kid just dropped out of nowhere in our worlds. Showed you some of these last night. Dropped out of nowhere. We did this Bible last night, showed you that there was a time when those who feared the Lord spoke with one another. Jesus listened and heard them. Jesus, Creator, Father. So a scroll of remembrance, that's the 66 books. Well, that was the 39 books of the Old Testament. Was written before him for us, for the people that would come later, because their Armageddon is over. And now we are the ones understanding why those people were faithful to death. I had to look up this. Remember Public Law 102 designating, is there really an education day? Did something, because that's what that guy was saying, that the Noahide laws were in place. They're ready to go. Showed a picture. So I screenshotted it. Here it is. There really was a law. And it, first one, it says public law, but look over here, it's Noahide law. This law recognizes the historical tradition of ethical values and principles that are the foundation, not only of the United States, of civilized society, and upon which the United States was founded. The law requests the president to issue a proclamation calling upon the people of the United States to observe this day. So maybe March 20, even maybe this March 20, something big will come up. Get a little bit more foregrounding on it. Here's the PDF on the joint resolution 102-14-MAR period 20, 1991, Public Law 102-14. 102nd Congress, whereas Congress recognizes the historical tradition of ethical values, principles on the nation's founded, got it. Point 2, Whereas these ethical values and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization, when they were known as the 7 Noahide laws. Whereas justified preoccupation with these crises must not let the citizens of this nation lose sight of their responsibility to transmit these historical ethical values. I think that Charlie Kirk forgot about that one, or he's leading it to it, going to be a new saint of, or a newly enforced. Hey, I didn't make this up. I didn't write this. This is a law. 1991, the start of the 19th year of Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, leader of the worldwide Lubavitch movement, is designated as Education Day USA. The president, George Bush Sr., is requesting to issue a proclamation calling upon the people of the United States to go have fun doing this. I don't even know. Have you ever heard of Chabad? Chabad, founded in 1775, based, still going, still part of history, still in business, started 251 years ago. See, that's not the 1711 start of Satan's 335, year boom. Hey, now what's up? This is them establishing it, showing fake documents, saying we're the guys who own it. Chabad. This is where we're gonna, foreground people into going like, well, if they did it, I'll do it. I'm gonna go pelvis thrust at the Wailing Wall and go, baby, baby, baby. I guess we're all in on it. They're in on it. You busy today? No. Are we genociding today? No, we're not genociding today or tomorrow. So here it is. You want to screenshot it? There you go. George Bush, President of the United States. Now, the days after, all of these next videos, I'm going to show you how I said from September 11th through the 14th, it's all going to be Noahide laws. It's the Mormons, it's the Catholics, it's the Charismatics going to get a new religion that's going to say, now we're doing the Noahide laws. I forgot that it had already been passed as a law. Welcome, everybody. I'm sick of being. There are no Semites to be anti about. What were they told when they said, let his blood be upon us and our children? Well, that's it. Then it was Armageddon. And then after that, we have I know it. I've said it a million times. It's those Ashkenazis. They're not real Jews. They're court Jews pretending to be Jews so they could accept usury, so they could buy all the battleships. Because you had to be able to go like, oh man, you sunk my battleship. So all of these videos, nope, that's not one of them. I looked up the ones that said Charlie Kirk around that time. There were more. So I went to view what I did on September 11th, 12th, and 13th. I was, this was a big deal. One of them, for me, that's a lot. But this is the one where I showed that it was all going to be Noahides.
I do not want you lukewarm.
Oh, blah, blah, Paco.
Not usually the most unshadow banned man. Hey, check this out. Here's some crazy things. I'm a lifelong leftist, but this critique of the character of those bourgeois founders of many
bourgeois, Paco.
Shaw revealed that their goal was to be achieved by, quote, stealth, intrigue, subversion, and the deception of never calling socialism by its right name, end quote. The Fabian Society was as a splinter group of the Fellowship of the New Life, composed of artists and intellectuals.
Rosicrucians.
Rosicrucian, Fabians, wolves in sheep clothing. It's their logo.
Bizant, and also members of the Society of...
Yeah, it's the Blavatsky, it's Crowley, it's those
who
guys.
presently discover with a sort of surprise the common object towards which they are all moving. In all sorts of ways, they will be influencing and controlling the apparatus of the ostensible...
Man, that sounds like I'm smoking. Hey, this guy was faked, but they liked his butt.
A singer, then a movie star, then a philanthropist. Go, Fabian.
About the young lad that he offered to bring him into the rock and roll enterprise. Leave me alone. I'm worried about my dad, Fabian had responded to his request. It was a sweet and sour childhood memory, I must say, although all that is now history. Fabian Anthony Forte was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Josephine and Dominic Forte. His police officer father had to battle with illness off and on, coupled with poverty. The year 1957 held a special place for Fabian, especially because that's when he caught the attention of Bob Marcucci and...
That doesn't look like, did they pick out the ones that looked like Elvis and my dad and others, and they just told them, go for this type of lifestyle. And all of them have one thing in common. They ended up realizing they're in a place where the bellhop's tears keep flowing. The desk clerks dressed in black. They've been so long on lonely streets that never.
Peter De Angelis.
But thanks to the guy that spotted him when his dad was being carried in a stretcher to an ambulance, and the guy said, I want to get me some of that.
He wanted to get some of that, and this guy was all in on it. He said, okay, you want some of this? You got it. I'm a tiger baby.
I say, this is the first time I ever felt this way.
So they faked his voice, but the guy liked the way he looked and said, and Fabian said, you know what? Your come hither look is working for him.
Gonna get 1,000 kicks, kiss 1,000 chicks, so turn loose.
It gets worse. It gets worse.
It can't get any worse.
It's a thing.
It all started with one profound question in the classroom. How could the German people sit back while the Nazis slaughtered those around them? Ron Jones found himself at a loss.
Oh, he was so crazy, man.
Shut up.
Try a revolution and fail, we would get an F. But if our revolution succeeded, we would get an A.
To make matters even more confusing is when he wrote "Strength Through Discipline" on the blackboard.
Today I'm going to talk to you about discipline.
Ha 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 ha.
So, man, I'd really stretch it out, but I just feel like talking all the time.
It's not hard for him to rock that rhyme. It wasn't tricky. It was cool. So he was a serial rapier, bigamist, but he could write poetry. He was into the movement. They propped him up because he had no intention of...
I'm talking about the guy who married the girl who wrote Frankenstein, who was a bisexual girl who was a bigamist because he had married a 15-year-old like Mary Shelley a couple of years before, but now he found a new 15-year-old to knock up. And while they're together, they just wrote Frankenstein.
Living for God. got expelled in 1811, probably on September 11th. Who knows? I really want you to study this, Frankenstein, and later the book of Dracula, because don't those books and the
Hey, Paco, you know what they call it? I know now. You didn't know it then. Foregrounding.
Hamlet, who is he? Another one of these guys, architect Gold Rush. He supposedly built the Hermitage and all of the other ones, Tudor Hall, anywhere where those people that ended up running the world lived. He did. Some people are interested in architects.
So this was still supposed to be Charlie Kirk centric.
Get that connection.
Well, yeah, you're contaminating the thought.
It against Sam Altman. He's gay, but he raped her or something. She's mad. I know that. Who is Sam Altman? I have never heard of him, or just in passing. I guess he is the Oppenheimer of our age. So I guess that means he's a smart homosexual that they put up with communist leanings because he's so smart you can't do it without him.
Yeah.
But he I guess the guy that's getting sued by both his sisters is the head of OpenAI.
Oh my goodness, he's raping his sisters. That
Actually, you either forget what
crazy.
your grudge was, or who knows, but that alludes to. But if it's going to be all encompassing, statement as general as it sounds, yeah, there's a lot in there.
It is. Sure. And also in this, you can see I was reading something about heretics getting burned at the stake, explicitly a post-humanist.
Do you see how vindictive they are? Later, they said, this is how much we want you to hate these people. We're going to dig up his ashes and burn him again because it's a posthumous punishment for his denial of transubstantiation, which is all the proof you need that Roman Catholic, they're going to kill you if you don't believe in their 7 Noahide laws. They don't give one rat's patootie about pure doctrine. They want control, baby. I'm jumping ahead. I was talking about this guy.
He's more famous for pneumatic street railway innovation and also the zip fastener. Way to go, dude.
Yeah, if anything, I would question it, the time frame, if someone stumbled onto that technology, whatever, and then, re-released it whenever they claimed it, saying it's brand new then.
Right.
It's difficult to
exactly. Here's this last one. And I'm just going to let you hear it.
You had something completely different. But basically, the way I was raised to see Paul was that Paul recognized that the law was bad. Basically, Jews couldn't keep the law. They tried so hard to keep the law, and then they finally gave up. And Paul was like, good news, Jesus is here. You don't have to keep the law. But there was a whole kind of scholarly movement in the kind of latter half of the latter, maybe let's say the final quarter of the last century, with people like E.P. Sanders and even N.T. Wright, who's still kicking around. And they created what they call the new perspective on Paul. And the really important thing about the new perspective.
Well, I have been fighting the new perspective on Paul since 1988. Go, man.
Zero rubble at 9/11.
I thought this was funny.
That? Well,
what was the odds that I think I have that video?
Operative.
I think I have that video clip pulled up.
The weirdest stuff happens,
Yeah, it just is because it's like a movie, and America is always going to get saved with 007 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
So this guy is a comedian that acts like, he's Joe Pesci. He's really not. But he explains.
Know that this guy's still milking that.
Rationally, if you're a shooter, regardless of motive, why on earth would you plant a decoy rifle? Why risk fingerprints, DNA, and leaving behind a weapon linked to you? Makes no tactical or legal sense. Furthermore, the surveillance doesn't show him carrying a weapon to the scene, and it doesn't show him leaving with one either. And And unless this guy had the upper body strength of a professional linebacker and the stealth of a magician, he's not hauling that kind of gun in secret, which means either that rifle was not the murder weapon or someone intentionally placed it there after the fact. And if that's true, then we got a cover-up, or at the very least, a misleading narrative. Let's talk about this bullet engraving. Catch fast.
Remember that? We don't talk about the bullet engravings. The simple fact that they're sticking with Charlie Kirk was shot with a 30-06. It's all you need to know. It's been 3 months to a day where it happened, and there's still everything was exposed within 2 days.
Fascist. Sounds clever, real edgy.
Let's just skip ahead. Go, Vinny.
Yeah, those are now being confirmed by the FBI. I'm talking about Alex Jones. Yeah, that guy. And believe me, I never thought I'd be saying this in court, but the man was right. A book called The Shooting of Charlie Kirk, published the day before the assassination? Are you kidding me? What, we got time travelers now? Who in their right mind publishes a step-by-step account of a...
Does this guy sound like Joe Pesci? I mean, this is like, that's not Joe Pesci.
Tragedy before it happens? That ain't just suspicious. That's premeditated. That's script writing. Premature headlines, time-stamped articles, even a creepy song titled Charlie Kirk Dead at 31 released.
Well, that's like when they were announcing Building 7 collapsing before it collapsed.
Exactly.
You remember the day of 9/11?
Yeah.
After the two main, and there's we just heard that the tower collapsed. Well, it hadn't, but it was just minutes after.
Yeah, that was the. It was from Great Britain.
DBS.
They don't call it Building 7. They go, and there's the Solomon Building. It just, and it was still there. It's collapsed. They go like, it does. What is going on? There's a real woman, they say. There's a real woman.
I don't know if I believe this or not. It's weird though, right? A lot of Michelle Obamas and Brigitte Macrons in the world. And I guess there has been from the beginning. Boy or girl?
Egypt, my people. Assyria, the work of my hands. And Israel, my inheritance. Some of them are related to David. And while the world is turned upside down for Christ, thousands of Jews.
Let's see what else I was talking about that day.
Now, it's the Freemasons. They did it. They built the world. It's all covered up. Let's go forward, knowing it's a flat Earth nation golden age past. And here we are today, disclaiming away because we have to. And I might.
Wait a second. What do you mean? What does with us mean exactly? Right? I'm an American, okay? Like, I represent this country. And I don't even understand that paradigm. But Megan, I think you would agree with this. I want to make sure we really zero in on this. Personality types like you, myself, and Tucker, the more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megan, it would be one thing if it was one text or two texts. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? And so, look,
Stakeholders in
wow, man. See, because Charlie wasn't yelling. If I had a producer, this would be better. Huh. We'll hear this part.
There were black and white and black. But they didn't want their children to be slaves.
No, that was an American thing where, like Tom Jefferson, Franklin, Washington, they were breeding their own slaves, making children so they could have sex with them or give them to their friends and sell them. That's different. We're the only ones that did that. America, great again.
And even their doors and windows, they're describing Bible stories to you. Laura's story, 5 cubits, middle 1. I think at the end of the golden, during the golden age, somebody knew where Hiram's stash of unfilled, ready to build temples were and started rebuilding them to claim, look at what we did. The whole temple and house, this one in particular, the way it was built was with stones prepared at the quarry, so that neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron was heard in the house. You could add in a parentheses there.
I'll have you know that when I do that change of voice inflection, I don't plan that. That's just something that I think is fun.
And you shall die the death of the slain in the heart of the seas. Will you still say, I am a God in the presence of those who kill you? Though you are but a man and no God, in the hands of those who slay you, you shall die the death of the uncircumcised. Is that the same? The Lamb is talking about here. So we're going to get a pretty good secret that jealousy, like we're going to, let's review up to 14,
I think I'm looking for chapter
Isaiah
14.
God of salvation is coming. What happened? You're going to make known your deeds among him. Somebody's going to get cast out in the long run. There's going to be a judgment. Bare hills raise a signal, cry aloud, wait, wail, judgment. Oh, yikes, doodah. I will make people more rare than fine gold.
There's 3 types of gold. There's clear gold, like glass. Powdered gold, that's another term for fine gold. And then there's just regular gold.
And mankind than the gold of Ophir. Wow. So chapter 14, Jacob, the oppressor here, taking up the taunt.
I think I was talking to RJ the other day about we probably will not wear shoes when we walk on the streets of gold because that will help us stay grounded.
Sheol beneath is stirred up to meet you when you come. It rouses this dark spirits.
That shades means phantom.
To greet you. That's verse 9 of Isaiah 14. All who were leaders of the earth, it rises from their thrones. All who were the kings of the nations, all of them will answer you and say, you too have become as weak as us. You've become like us. Your pomp is brought down to Sheol. The sound of your harps, maggots, are laid as a bed beneath you and worms cover you. Oh, how you are fallen from heaven. Oh, day star, son of dawn, how you are cut down to the ground, you who laid the nations low.
What laid the nations low was an exalted cherub who walked among the fiery stones, turning to sin. That was what Epistle of 1 John, chapter 3, I think verse 16, says, God came to this world to deal with sin in heaven. Well, here it is. This is where it happened, not when they started getting physical bodies all of a sudden. They go rape a woman. That's a fairy tale.
Talking about the same person as the king of Tyre. Verse 13, you said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars. I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the mount of the assembly in the far reaches of the.
This is your first sin. This is your first sin. Wasn't that same demoted cherub sending himself or a serpent type thing to trick a girl in a garden? This is the first sin. Not, I'm going to trip her and then we're going to have sex with the Satan and the man and it's going to be yeehaw. No, there was a sin in spirit world. It's an object lesson to the other angels, what we are living through.
North, there's a footnote. It says the remote parts of Zaphron. So it was north, south, south, north, was up, down. Hey, verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will make myself like the Most High. I didn't see that in Ezekiel. Continuing, but you are brought down to Sheol, to the far reaches of the pit. Those who see you will stare at you and ponder over you. They make that sound like an active verb. Is this the hombre who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world like a Sahara desert? You know, Sahara means desert. So did it make the world like a desert? Overthrew its cities. Don't worry. They used the slaves to rebuild them. Who did not let his prisoners go home? All the kings of the nations lie in glory. Now, are they laying in glory or are they lying? Each in his own tomb. But you are cast out away from your grave like a loathed branch. We know.
Wow.
I think that was going to be only trees. So the masons do the stones. They cut the sides of the altar. You know, the Freemasons make a big deal out of that. They're not in any history books. I had such good opportunities to talk about that in my history class today. How, you know, I've taken a lot.
Yeah, that guy, he sure let me down. Well, let's keep rolling here. I did this one 3 months ago, still on this, what's going on. Looks like one thing about Spain, they didn't have slaves, but they sure go with that Virgin of Guadalupe thing.
That was during the 1,000 years of them saying, look, no, this is my child. You can't rape my child. Mexico was different. It wasn't like that in the United States.
It doesn't make them not Masons, lost in sin, propping up the Virgin Guadalupe. What I'm proving there is that at least they didn't rape their children. Go with this part.
Well, first and foremost, what are y'all's thoughts on his actions here?
That's not cancel. That's not cancel culture. When you're talking about,
it's been just under a day and a half since DC Comics did what they had no other choice but to do: cancel the Red Hood book from Gretchen Felker Martin. And my assumption is that they cut all ties with the writer after their very gleeful response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a political commentator, a father, a husband. And it didn't take comic book pros and other people around the comic book community to start painting Gretchen Felker Martin as the real victim, because they really should still have this job. It's only a couple social media posts. Of course, we know that's not the case. In fact, I'd already heard from some of my DC insiders.
Jeez whiz. We're learning these things in real time. That's why this isn't a professional type situation.
Insiders stressed that it was merely the final straw that broke the camel's back, rather than the sole reason for Red Hood's cancellation. Any post viewed as promoting hostility or violence would break.
Let's jump ahead.
Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao.
Now that is I guess if you Google that, you get the furry stuff.
Ciao, ciao. And a third unfired casing read, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO.
So,
all right. So I wanted to go over the Bible. What I looked up is now.
There's no surprise right there. Did I go over the Bible the whole time? Looks like the rest was a Bible study.
Variables at play, like it gonna take you about 3 minutes to break down a sniper rifle. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
We have a lot of differences of opinion on eschatology.
Boy, do we.
That's for sure. But much
I
respect.
want to see if I can find a video of someone literally breaking down a sniper rifle.
You can't.
Yeah, they don't show it. I guess I was just, saying, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
American Revolution, sponsored by the Phrygian Cap, freed slaves. Go run this country and you'll have charge over the Native Americans. You can kill them, work them to death, get the gold, grow the corn, cut the ice. Boston supplied ice to the world. The Weishaupt Order of the Illuminati. We'll look at Andrew Weishaupt. Some of the other names you might need to know besides John Robinson. He was the guy who developed the first, so that they could fix the longitude problem. He solved it. It's a very small group of Freemasons that are trying to expose the Illuminati as they're the bad guys, not us. You get it. And they are the ones that were connected to the Industrial Revolution. They made all the money. Everybody that is even the Parker brothers.
Boy, I started out a long time ago talking about how they're, really until they got the turbines in 1913, 1880, 1872. Something weird going on, man.
And the Milton Bradley who make the games, they were in on it. And of course, you can prove the conspiracy, but unless you're ready to say they're all in on it together, because Satan is pleased that they're again drinking adrenochrome, sacrificing babies, and the nations are almost complete.
So I'm going to wrap it up with it. I had this one other video that I watched this morning about 1870, 1872. Let's try to find that one, because is there something going on about 1872? This was an interesting one. Lighthouse makes no sense. It's 1870.
They left the official history, which explains everything. There's no continuation for technology at this level. And why is this referred to as a natural process in textbooks? If this is not progress, then what exactly happened? Open the catalogs of any museum in the world. The Hermitage, the British Museum, private collections in Switzerland. Find the section with clocks and automatons from the 18th century. Now look at the dates of the last specimens. Everywhere it's the same. The 1870s, the 1880s, and then emptiness. As if someone flipped a switch and production froze in a single impulse from London to Beijing. This does not resemble a gradual decline.
That's a perfect target of where I think the true city of Jerusalem that got Armageddon is under the Sahara, never to be found.
Of the craft. It is a break. Look at the chronology. 1850. Hundreds of workshops operate in Europe. In China, the emperor has accumulated 5,000 mechanical curiosities. In Russia, Kulibin creates his masterpieces. In Switzerland, Pierre-Jacques Dreux demonstrates dolls that write and play the harpsichord. The 1850s are the peak. On all continents, just as we have smartphones today, these mechanisms are in every palace, in every wealthy home. And now it is 1900. Zero. Complete silence. There are no more workshops. The tradition is broken. No new specimens are being created. The old ones are kept in museums as curiosities from a long-gone world. 50 years. In 50 years, an entire industry that existed for centuries has vanished.
Well, that's because they had to fake that history. Now, the gramophone, some of these other things, we will not dwell here long.
Construction with moving birds, music every 15 minutes. Russia, in 1767, receives from Kulibin the egg clock, 427 smallest details. Switzerland, in 1770, demonstrates an automaton with 6,000 details, capable of writing texts. Germany, in the 15th century, is already producing the most complex table clocks. Take an 18th century map of the world. Mark the centers of mechanical production: London, Paris, Geneva, Augsburg, Nuremberg, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Beijing, Istanbul. The cities are separated by thousands of kilometers. Between them are oceans, mountains, deserts. Where everyone is taught from the same textbooks. Unified material standards so that details from different workshops fit together. Unified logistics for raw material supply. And most importantly, a center that oversees all of this. Now, many will say, maybe this is just technology trading. Masters traveled, learned from each other, passed on secrets. Fine.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Devices that perform specific functions in the control network. Automatons that write are an information transmission. Those that play musical instruments are not music for the ear. These are sound frequencies, infrasound and ultrasound, that affect people's states and possibly the operation of other devices. The clocks performed the main function, synchronization. Not time for the convenience of people, time for coordinating actions across the planet. If you have a network of control nodes scattered over thousands of kilometers, you need a way to synchronize their operation. Clocks with precise mechanisms that run the same everywhere. That is the way. At first glance, all this sounds fantastic. Dolls controlled the world? But look at modernity. Our control devices are computers, boxes with microchips. For a person of the 18th century, a computer would have looked like black magic. For us, their mechanical processors made of 6,000 parts seem...
It's so recursive. You needed this to make that.
From the early 19th century with stamped dates. Machines for producing clocks with components that themselves look like works of engineering art. Look at the 18th century machine for cutting teeth. The workpiece is secured in the dividing head. The cutter is fed by the carriage with a screw feed. After each pass, the dividing head rotates the workpiece by a specified angle. The accuracy of the rotation is ensured by the worm drive. Now a question. A worm gear is a screw with a special thread and a wheel with inclined teeth. To manufacture a worm gear, a machine capable of cutting such a thread is needed. To manufacture this machine, another machine is needed that can make its components, and so on. Now watch carefully. The machines themselves are made on machines. Friction units, transmission mechanisms, screw pairs. All of this requires precision processing. The sliding bearings are manufactured with an accuracy that ensures smooth motion without play. The support guides are polished so that the cutter moves strictly parallel to the axis of rotation.
Is this sinking in here? I know he's a little bit redundant.
Musical mechanisms tuned frequencies for coordinating actions. Sound is a vibration. Certain frequencies affect materials, the state of people, possibly the operation of other devices in the network.
See how redundant? But the simple fact is, they're doing it for a reason. They have to cover up the fact that the Mudflood was the Armageddon, that they added 1,000 years, that the Titans are the mountains. They died like men in the flood. They are reserved in judgment. Water can come from a rock. We worship the rock of our salvation. We are living stones that were ordained from before the foundation of the world, that if we are one called, two chosen, three faithful, there will be works laid out from us from before the foundation of the world. We are seed planted in soil, given different levels of talent. If we meet the minimum, he'll say, well done. If we lukewarm, half-hearted, act like, well, what's the problem with the 7 Noahide laws? I have every right to question your salvation because we know they added 1,000 years. We know about the cognitive dissonance, the orphan trained brains that have been normalized in our world to accept a globe. No, no, no. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends never going to tell you anything else because we know we're called. We know we're chosen. We know the only way to guarantee heaven is to die in faith. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. Adios, amigos. From the I'm at the border of Colorado and New Mexico.